How's it going, Cat Army? In today's video, we are going to be doing a total internal overhaul of the JG T3 SAS-G. Now, this gun actually holds a very close place in my heart. When I was a kid, I think about 13 years old, I've been around and picked weeds to earn enough money to buy my very first metal gearbox AEG, which was this gun you're seeing right in front of your eyes. Now, I did go out and rebuy it at 22 years old, so now it's time to make that gun a dream gun that I wish I had when I was a kid. Starting for the inner barrel, we're using the Angel Custom 6.03 388mm inner barrel, paired along with the promethiuspurple smooth bucking with the modified flat hop nub. Now moving on to the gearbox itself, we're going to be using the krytac half steel metal tooth piston with the metal piston head and a MAXX cylinder to give us that really good air response. Now with the gear set, we're going to be using the 13-1s Rocket Airsoft speed gears and the 30K ASG Infinity motor to really give us that snappy trigger response. And also we're going to be using the Perun V2 hybrid MOSFET, but unfortunately it did give us some issues. I did receive a lemon. I did all the preliminary tests, even went to the website, and unfortunately it looks like I just got a lemon, which that stuff happens, but luckily we did keep the original trigger assembly. So later on in the future, hopefully I can buy another Perun V2 hybrid MOSFET or return it for an exchange. If not, I could just get a nuke FET and just solder in a MOSFET, a little hardwired MOSFET inside for the time being. Anyway guys, let's get on to the video. Now I did notice with the stock JG motor, it is one of your very basic cheap Chinese motors. There's no torque really at all. I can pretty easily just spin the pinion gear and there's almost no resistance at all. So if you do get this gun and you just want to do a quick easy upgrade without really getting into the gearbox at all, the first thing you should do would be get a new motor, maybe like a Lonex A1, any type of long type motor that has some good torque to it. So if you guys are wondering, what I'm doing right now is I'm just shimming the gears. I'm just making sure that they're going to be not laying on top of each other and not sitting too high off each other. I just want to make sure they're meshing good. And then of course close the gearbox, spin it, just make sure there's not too much friction at all. I just want it to be nice and buttery smooth. Also, I'm also using the method. It's called bevel to pinion gear method. I know you can't really see that well on video when I'm doing it, but essentially what you want to do is you can use your pistol grip, put it onto the gearbox itself, and then put your motor in. The only thing that is the downside about this gearbox is there's no windows to see the bevel gear, so it makes it kind of hard. So I kind of do it with the gearbox shell half open. I know that's not the really traditional way, but for this time and moment, that's the best way I can do because I can't see at all how the pinion gear is sitting with the bevel gear. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing at this moment. Alrighty, so unfortunately I did all the tests and even still it doesn't want to work right. I took it all apart and I just had this the sector gear and the trigger, spinning it, it detects the gears, but I'm not too sure what's going on. I cleaned it all up too, made sure there's no grease on the sensors. You know, I used them in the past and they were great, but I don't know, maybe I got a fault to them. That's what I'm thinking. I did this small test too, where you actually find a perun their website, where you actually take a piece of cardboard, move it, and it should spin the motor. Didn't do that for me. It was on and off. Even when I was having it in here, it was just going haywire. So I'm not too sure. It just fully stopped working too. Even with the motor in and everything, nothing at all. There's no power at all going to the gun. So I think there's something going on with this one. And like I did state, it does suck. These type of things do happen. It's really hard to do quality control at times. I get it. But nonetheless, I ended up just throwing in the original JG trigger board it did come with. It's not the best, but it does get the job done. And as you can see by the shooting video, it's still kind of snappy. Let's give it a shot. So after getting the gun back together and assembled, the things I do love about this gun is the fact that the gearbox is heavily reinforced, which is a big plus in my books, as gearbox cracking in the front sucks. And you don't really have to worry about this with this gearbox. It's actually a pretty nice setup. The other thing is the piston head, the cylinder, and the air nozzle. All in itself, I had 0 air leaks, which is very surprising for JG. Back in the old days, I remember when I used to take apart my JG's WM4s and stuff, the air compression was absolutely horrible. You know, I could push the piston while holding the air nozzle and it would just slide right through. And it just used that heavy spring to get the high FPS. But not in this case. This case actually had 0 air leaks, so I was very surprised about. Had actually decent padding and also had 2 O-rings on the piston head, which, as you can see in the video, I actually used that piston head for the build. You know, it works great, so why replace it? The other things too I would like to mention is the bucking. The bucking was actually a very thick rubber, which is always good to have, so it doesn't you know, dry out. It doesn't really rip easily. You know, it's actually pretty resistant. So I'm actually surprised that, you know, JG is actually stepping up the game. And the gearbox is quick change spring guide. I remember when I first had the gun, it was not a QC gearbox, so that's a big plus. So it looks like JG's has been stepping up the game with their quality. So if you want to get this gun for yourself, I say go for it. Just make sure you get a better motor and a good, like, a little bit heavier battery, and you should be all set. How's it going, guys? Don't mind the background sounds, but we got the gun back together. So I did run into a lot of problems. First one being the GoPro died. Look at the setup, it's pretty ghetto, but it died. So I didn't really realize it wasn't recording for a while. But the other thing too is that, one, I had to reinstall all the old trigger boards, so there's no perun MOSFET inside, unfortunately, because something is going on with the trigger contacts. I'm going to return it. Hopefully I can get at least another one in or something. But besides that fact being, the other one was that this flash shutter part had a little lip inside, so that wouldn't allow it longer in the barrel. So I had to take an old, cheap, broken in the barrel and just smash it through so I can get the 6.03 one in there. Fits very snug, so I don't have to worry about the barrel wobbling at all. But yeah, as you guys can see, the inner barrel actually ends right there, so it's actually pretty. It's a legit actual inner barrel cover. So we're using 0.25s, 0.25 Tippmann BBs with about an 80% charge, 11.1 lipo. Let's go. So we're shooting 325 with 0.25s. Now let's do a full auto. Let's see if we can gotta get a rate of fire reading. So it's not reading, but yeah, I'd say it's about shooting about maybe like 25-ish rounds a second. So let's go outside and let's go give it a shooting test range. Hey guys, so it's semi-auto test. It's very windy. Can't really see the BBs that well. Shooting pretty far, full auto. Jesus Christ. Damn. Alright, that's it. Yeah, buddy. And that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below, you know, any cool information with your dream airsoft gun, you know, things like that. Stay tuned. I got the Real Deal Airsoft Guys parts coming in on Wednesday, and I should be getting it and installing it into my DSG. So stay tuned for that. Love you guys. Catch you later.